Adrian, please. Yeah, so welcome to the August 7th Computational Computing Outreach Committee, Computational Computing Consortium Outreach Committee meeting. So the CCC is a community focused on open source licensed projects securing data in use and accelerating the adoption of computational computing through open collaboration. Everybody is welcome here. Every project meeting our criteria is welcome. We try to be as much as possible transparent, collaborative community. And we pledge to make participation in our community a harassment-free experience for everyone. Next slide, please. So antitrust policy, this is a Linux Foundation project, and as such, we have an antitrust policy in place. If you have any questions about this one, you can reach Linux Foundation directly, or Rian or Ben that are here in the meeting, and they can help clarify any questions you might have. Agenda for today: approval of the meetings, brand repositioning update, an update on Open Source Summit Europe, analytics for July. Jen is here, yes. Outreach budget and any other business. So let's jump into the first topic. I suppose the minutes are approved, right, Rian?
I have not received any corrections, so if there's no objections here, I think we can approve it.
Okay, any objections for the past meeting minutes?
Nope.
All right, so it's approved. Let's move forward. I think April is going to provide us an update, right, on the brand repositioning working group.
Yeah, well, actually, Rachel, because unfortunately I was sick last week, I wasn't able to attend in person, so Rachel's going to cover that.
Okay,
yeah, I'm happy to provide updates for the brand repositioning working group. Can you please move on to next slide? I just wanted to share some key updates in the next slide, please. We went over these parts last time. And next slide.
Yeah, this one. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Oh, sorry. Is this one or the previous one?
Yes, the key update slides. No, last one.
Yeah, the previous one, Rian, please.
Sorry, previous one. There we are.
Yes, this one, yes.
Yes, perfect. So hi, everyone. I'd like to provide key updates from the Computational Computing Brand Repositioning Working Group since our last meeting. First of all, we have successfully reviewed and addressed all feedback for draft V1 of the Computational Computing Brand Repositioning Strategy and Action Plan document. Additionally, we've finalized a list of task owners who volunteered and distributed tasks among working group volunteers. So thank you so much to all the volunteers who took on those tasks, and I really appreciate your time and commitment. So next, I'm happy to mention that the working group has kicked off the implementation phase ahead of the schedule. We've made significant progress. We promptly deliver phase 0, which focused on scoping, and phase 1, which involved strategy assessment. Consequently, we began the implementation phase in August, 1 month ahead of our planned September timeline. We've also started the messaging guide and brand repositioning document. So this document includes the top use cases identified in the governance board and use case reports. And so lastly, the action plan and tentative timeline were reviewed by the outreach committee and the board since last time we met. And so please refer to the next slides for the detailed action plan and tentative timeline. I'll skip this as we already went over this part in the last outreach meeting. So feel free to see last meeting's recording or reach out to me and App if you would like to refresh on the content or have any questions.
So we are in phase 2 already, right? I mean, it's just 1 month ahead of time here. Okay.
That is correct. Thank you.
Are we expecting to finish by the end of this year because of that?
We'll try our best.
Things are always difficult in December, but we can try it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, it's great news. I mean, thank you very much. It's great to see that we are a little bit ahead of time, right? All right, any questions for the brand repositioning work group? All right, if not, let's jump into the OSS Europe update. As everybody knows, we will have a mini summit happening on September 19 during the Open Source Summit Europe. We have a call for presentations open. The deadline is tomorrow. We are still seeking for speakers and topics to submit their proposals. Also, there will be a panel around attestation that Saul is leading, right? I think there are at least one folk from Linaro helping on that. So please, if you want to attend the panel, or if you want to attend the panel, contact Saul. If you want to submit a proposal, use the link here to submit your proposal. Do you want to add anything, Saul?
Yeah, one quick comment. I am organizing it with Mark, but it's going to be moderated by Mike. So I think this is going to be a really good session. So definitely, if you still want to get in, today's the last day, tell me.
Right, we will also have Mike Roussel presenting on the main conference around confidential computing new capabilities for new workloads. I highly recommend that. And last update, last meeting, we talked about the fact that we had a booth space for Open Source Summit Europe. No members presented any interest in fulfilling this space, so we just canceled the booth. So let's move on. Upcoming events. So we have a speaking slot as well on Open Source Summit Japan in October, because we are going to sponsor the conference, or we are sponsoring the conference. And we also have a booth at KubeCon North America in November. This booth, the CCC will use to showcase the collaboration from the members. Currently, this 4 members said that they are interested to present at the booth. If you or your company are interested as well, just let us know. We will probably divide the time, right? And each company will own the booth for a certain period of time and to present their demos and showcase their solutions. Any questions on these?
Leonardo,
Mike,
when is
you are
the
mute.
sorry, 1 second. When is the deadline you need to hear about OSS Japan?
In terms of what? I mean, we have a slot which I'm going to be there. I was planning to use that slot, but I was about to say if we have ways to things to do, if other people who want to do a panel or a co-presentation, that would be certainly very interesting. Who's that asking?
That was me.
Joseph,
I can't see who he is.
It's Joseph.
Joseph.
Okay, sorry. I don't have everyone in view all the time. Sorry.
That's okay. That really isn't a problem. I was just wondering what the plan was for that, really, and whether it was locked down, whether or not, etc. So maybe it's
no, we don't.
Discuss.
So we don't have anything. So I mean, debates. So panel sessions go down very well for these sorts of things generally. And if you've got people who for ARM who are going to be there, I suspect there are going to be people from. We have at least one member there as well. So I was literally about to put in my diary, canvas for interest. If you could send me an email, Joseph, saying that you think ARM would be interested in participating in that is a great start for me to try and get some other people as well. Try and get some Fujitsu, maybe Intel often like being Jesse likes being in Japan, I think, and I know there's someone from another possible startup who may be joining as well, who might be interested too. So send me an email and let's get that rolling. That sounds fantastic. If there's anyone else as well, please. Japan's a great place. It's a heck of a way, but if we go to make the most of it, so
yeah, I'll have a little talk around the team, see who's in the region.
Great. Thank you. That's excellent news. You have preempted me.
Leonardo, you are talking, but we're not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, I was just saying that, this is great. I agree with Mike. Panels have been working quite well. In terms of separate presentations, I think CFP for OSS Japan is already closed, right? So this should be
It has
the only...
closed. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move to the next slide, which brings us to the July Web Analytics. So Jen, are you around yet? Okay, yes.
Here.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so at the very top of this page, you'll see the link to July Analytics. So there are more metrics to look at on the July Analytics report, but I just kind of put in here a few slides that I think tell a really good story for where we're at. So as you know, we are heavily focused on promoting the case for confidential computing. Just to give you a sense of how it's performing so far, in July, we have a very high engagement rate at 10.5%. That's probably the highest engagement we've had on any content we've done so far. Impressions are doing very well, as well as the click-through rate.
Yeah, because that's up from last time, right? The click-through rate was 4% or so last time. Brilliant. Yep. Thank you.
So it's continuing to go. And what I've done for LinkedIn, because that's where most of the audience is I've pinned this initial post at the top of the page. So if people are coming there for the first time, they can kind of see the trends. And then each week I'm doing 2 posts using the infographics. So we started with TEE. So you can kind of see what this looks like. This one's a little bit low, but again, remember that a lot of people are on vacation in July, which is why I'm posting twice a week. And we're just going to kind of keep rotating. But this week we're doing the posts around AI. So I think that will be great. So if you want to go to the next slide, I want to kind of show you month over month, kind of what's happening in terms of the metrics for LinkedIn in particular. We are up 3,000% in terms of impressions. I'm sorry, not percent, 3273, excuse me.
I was about to be very, very impressed, but that's not bad anyway, right?
Yeah, so. Really. But that's a really big number, right? We started with, just over 1,700 now. We are, really getting great traction. Clicks are up as well as interactions. And an interaction is somebody taking any activity at all on LinkedIn. So if you like it, you repost it, you put an emoji in, and what that tells me is that the content is being looked at, right? So we don't necessarily get a click-through rate on everything, but what we're doing is we're building that really solid case for why people should be paying attention to us. So it's a really good thing to look at. And then if you pop to the next one, you'll see that our shares are also increasing. This is something is really great. When we post anything, if you all can share it on your own feeds, again, this is going to help us broaden our audience and get the word out. Audience numbers are good. Published posts, we are up from last month. We're starting to get a very nice cadence now, not only just with promoting the case for confidential computing, but just in general. Mike, all of your sessions we're getting out there. So as announcing new members, those are all great. So if any of you have content ideas, ping me on Slack or email, and we can work together to kind of put something together to keep this message happening.
Yeah, can I just follow up on that, Jen? Yeah. You're quite right. People forget that if you have just doing product announcements for a company, we don't tend to make a big deal about. But if you've had something picked up by the press, for instance, or you want to write a blog post or anything like that, or you've written a blog post that we can share that is relevant to our mission, we love doing that, right? And it helps you, it helps us, it helps the community. Everyone wins. So, and if you want to write a special blog post for the CCC specifically, we welcome those as well. But every time that you as a company have something which is relevant to CC, please let us know, because we'd love to promote it. And Jen, it just raises our numbers, right?
It absolutely does. And we actually had 2 reposts this week. So I'll be curious to kind of track that. Edgeless, and then the one we were posting a little bit later, Anjuna, with their new announcements coming out from Vita. So those are 2 that we're like really reposting. So keep those coming, and it's great to have them. Absolutely. Just a quick check on Google Analytics is all looking very good. If we want to go to the next slides, if you don't mind. Oh, I didn't put that one in, but I'll just kind of say it's in the larger report. But the thing I kind of want people to be mindful of is that the blog posts are getting about 20% of the read, followed by the webinars and so forth. So it's a pretty nice even set of what people are looking at when they come to the site. So really appreciate the content that we've got going right now. And I did ask Annie and some of the other folks that contributed to Confidential Computing if they would help me write a blog that promotes a particular topic. So Vinny's got one that I wrote for her that she's trying to get approved so that we can get that posted. So again, if any of you have want to do a guest post that speaks to this use cases, if you just kind of give me your top reasons for why you think it's interesting or why you want to, what you want to say about it, I can get a draft out to you and we can work together and get it turned around pretty quick. Mike, you and I have tag teamed on a few of these and I think it works pretty well.
Oh no, absolutely. Jen does a great job of this, and it's so much easier than my getting it all right all the time. So thanks to you and your team, Jen. That's really very efficient. I have to say, it's great.
Great, glad to hear it. So I think that's all I have today. But yeah, check out the full report on the link.
Okay, thank you very much, Jen. That's a great update. Ben, is it you providing the budget update?
Yeah, I can update folks here. The top line message here is that our spend is on track. We don't forecast any overspending this year, which is great. I will mention that we're saving a little bit of money on some of our scheduled events because we're not engaging with the LF events team. So, for example, OSSEU, we're not having a booth, which is allowing us to save some money. Not huge amounts, but every little bit helps. But yeah,
it's not that we don't like them; it's just we don't need them for these things, right?
That's correct. They are actually fantastic, and like the one thing that I don't want to deal with is customs and shipping things and dealing with all of that minutia. And the events team does it really, really well. Like these events are actually really complicated. Like trying to ship hats to Europe, like for some reason is like the most difficult thing in the world. Anyway, I could go on and on, but suffice it to say the budget's doing well. If any folks have questions about the budget or you want more detailed information, I'm happy to speak with you individually, so feel free to reach out.
Okay, thank you very much, Ben. I think that brings us to the end of the agenda. Anything else you want to bring today?
Yeah, if I may, I know it's always me, sorry, but it's kind of my job, I guess. There's been already lots of interaction on the attestation business models document. I've not had a chance to look at all of it because I've been at a conference for the last day and a half. But I'm really pleased to see all of the attention it's getting. Let's continue that. Share it with your friends and colleagues, or just your colleagues. I don't need to be your friends. Just share it with them. And I'll have a good look at that probably next week. And we'll see where that's going. But I'm so pleased that it's getting the attention that I was hoping it's going to get. I know that I don't want to rush through it because there's lots of stuff there. I think some of it may even go into another document or two. But it's holiday season. I want everyone to have a good chance to look at it and comment on it and think about it and all this sort of stuff. But I'm unsurprised by the interest, but pleased nevertheless. So thank you to everyone who's looked at that or shared it with their colleagues.
Okay, thank you, Mike. I mean, I'm really glad to hear that. Sorry, go ahead, Abe.
No, just very quickly. Can we share the link to the attestation document in the notes?
Of course I can. Let me put it into. I'll put it in the chat, but also let's put it in the minutes. So it goes out in the email in the minutes, if that's okay, Rian.
Hey, Mike, and it might be helpful to kind of restate what the goal of that paper is.
It's already telling something else, so I need to be careful.
Why does it need to exist?
Yeah. Okay. So it turns out that when we change the definition of confidential computing about a year and a half ago, we added the word attested to it, because everyone believes that attestation is a vital part of confidential computing, and also really important for long-term adoption. And that's great, but very few people are actually providing attestation verification services. AVS is kind of becoming a term. And so why is that? And I think it's partly that people aren't quite sure what the business models to do that are. And we're not even sure what an AVS looks like. And so it feels very much to me, and the GB agrees, and a variety of people have agreed, that this is a conversation that CCC is in a very good position to be pushing and to be encouraging within its members, and probably more broadly as well. And I've started talking about it at conferences, and everyone kind of gets excited about it, but we haven't had a place to sort of put down our thoughts and do that. And so I'm absolutely planning to have a working group sort of meeting on this. But I had so many thoughts, I thought I'll just put them down, and that gives us a sort of straw person document that people can disagree with. And that's great, because that's always a good place to start. It's already got too technical, and that's fine. And I'm going to move some of that stuff out. But that was the kind of thinking. Yeah, please.
Oh, it's just wonder. I mean, is it intending to advocate? I guess, and this is, I think, was my comment at the end of it, is I'm not sure where I'm at. As I get to the end of it, I'm like, okay, where am I supposed to be on this? Am I have I just been informed and explained? Is it as an explainer about the different types, or am I supposed to be persuaded that a certain methodology or a certain type of attestation verification service is optimal?
Oh, no, I certainly don't think there is an optimal type. What I'm trying to persuade is people who might be thinking that they should be putting together an attestation service, that it makes sense to do so, and understand why they would do it. And not necessarily them, but maybe their industry, or their sector, or something like that. It's about setting forth how we might use them and what for. And it is the document doesn't have a conclusion. It doesn't have a thread yet. It is kind of, to a large extent, a selection of thoughts put together. And one of the things I want to do is to get people's thoughts on all of it, and see where we're going to go with it. So it is not a structured or directed document, particularly at the moment, for which apologies. But I wanted to, put down as many of my thoughts as I could. Does that make sense?
It does. I think, I mean, in the end, I think it needs to, if it's not a point of view or a point of advocacy, well, if it is going to be advocacy, which is, it would be, the world would be better if there were a range of attestation services that are independent of the providers of infrastructure. I think that would, make that case, and you can, from a zero trust perspective, from multiple confidential computing installations across different types of clouds and different edge and on-prem. All of those cases can be made. I would just say, make sure that you are, when it comes together in its final form, it should be either a neutral explainer of options with the pros and cons of each, or persuasion with making the case for multiple independent attestation services, and why this could be a valuable business.
Yes, I agree. And one of the things I want to do is to find out what other people think about that, and get their thoughts into this document, because I'm not sure yet. And so that's why I want to gather more thoughts. And in some ways it fails already, because it's neither one type of document or another. And that it looks like a structured document, and it's more a set of thoughts, and that's probably my bad. So I appreciate that. And I will try and do something to reflect those thoughts, which are very helpful, Mike, in the document. And I'm
Okay.
sorry, I have.
And
Yeah, that makes
were
sense.
you were you thinking that when it makes its way out into the world, would it be a, hey, is this a Mike Russell blog post making a case, or is this a CCC document reflecting?
I would
the
like it to be
position of the-
CCC document. If it were my blog post, I would write a very different blog post. I want this to be the considered opinion of the wisdom of the crowds of the CCC.
Okay, if that is the case, I think I mean, you got membership with lots of different interests.
Yep.
Of course, some folks, like, for example, if you're here from Azure or Google or IBM, where you offer your own attestation service as part of your confidential computing instance offering or your confidential computing services, is this the position of kind of neutral third party attestation something that you would be interested in signing on to and advocating for that position? Or if you are a software provider that has attestation built into your software, would advocating for not using that in favor of a third party, so you may want to think through whether or not whether your position of advocacy versus your position of explaining pros and cons.
I know, and this is politically a bit tricky. I think we're in a recorded call, and I want to be a bit careful about what I say. Okay. But I think that I put fairly carefully the point that it's fairly clear that in most cases, but not all, it doesn't make sense for the operator of a service to be someone providing the full attestation verification services. And I think I try and make that as a technical point, and I think it's difficult to argue against. I said there are cases when it may make sense, and that's fine, and I can point to a very good one actually. But I think that generally the view, but we need to be pragmatic, right? At the moment, almost no one's offering anything, and I'm happier that CSPs are offering them, and that they're there, even if not perfect, than nobody offering them at all. I think is currently my view.
Yeah, and as we're having the discussion, I think you would perhaps the greater service to the cause might be an examination of the different options and the pros and cons of each, and then let the reader look, weigh out the different pros and cons and say, yeah, I am a zero trust enthusiast, and it's best for me to not receive attestation of infrastructure from the same organization that provides said infrastructure. Or somebody might say, hey, look, I'm just doing a POC. I want to see if this stuff works. And the one that's provided by the cloud provider or the software provider is free. So or included in the cost.
I don't want the document to become mainly on that question, because I think that's a pretty settled question. And I think there are much more interesting questions about all the other types. I think that it looks like a binary at the moment, but in the future, that use case is a 5%er rather than a 50%er. So I'd like to not have to think about that too much, and it not to feature as the main argument in the document.
Okay. Anyway, let's not burden everyone else with additional discussion on the topic. I would just say that in its current form, as you said, it's a collection of thoughts. It would benefit from a framework that is like, I'm going to take you here at the start, and I'm going to bring you to this point at the end.
100% agree. 100% agree. And that's something to work on.
All right.
Thank you. Any other comments of people who've read it or are thinking of reading it or definitely won't read it?
Well, I know that folks from the Narrow are probably reading it, if not made comments. This is a topic that we are discussing internally for quite some time, so we are definitely interested on that. We have the same technical vision that you have, Mike. about cloud providers being the ones attesting the workloads, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I discussed it with your colleagues yesterday, in fact. So
okay,
I know that they're aware of that. Thank you.
Yeah, any other comments on this?
So I thought it was a really good start. I think you made it quite clear at the end, open suggestions in terms of generative models, etc., which would be very interesting to see play out. I saw that a lot of people had left reasonable comments in there in terms of, bringing it higher level, etc. In terms, you mentioned it went quite technical at some points as well. So in terms of the total overview of it, I think it's in a very good place for, already a first pass. We just need to chip away at it, refine it, and just shape it a bit more. And I think that's what you can expect at this stage.
Great, thank you. Okay, sounds like we're done on that particular issue.
Yeah, I do have another topic I want to bring up. There was a discussion in the outreach channel in Slack that was brought by Drasko. He mentioned that, he was asking if there is any plan to create a new market analysis report. It seems that we have one from Everest Group that, according to him, is outdated.
I'd agree with that.
So, yeah. So, is this something? I think this is a topic that we should discuss in the outreach meetings.
So I can give you the historical on this, which is that it was something we thought quite hard about and decided to concentrate on the use case instead and spend the money on the use cases document first. And I think it's something that it's definitely for discussion. It'll need probably to be next year's budget. But I think you're quite right. We need to bring it up. And I think it'd be good to have Kate in the discussion as well. But everyone here should be thinking about what that would look like and what it should be for as well.
Yeah, I'm not planning to decide anything today, especially because Kate is not here, but also because I'm pretty sure that we don't have money to do that this year, probably, right? Budget for this year.
Yeah.
Actually, not correct. We were a little clever with our accounting, and so the money for the use case report is coming from the 2023 budget. So you have your full research amount in 2024 available.
And how much is that?
$60,000.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting.
It is.
Yeah, maybe we should discuss this in the next meeting with Kate and hopefully other members as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's valuable, right, to have a new market analysis. So, yeah. All right. Any other business? Well, if not, I think we come to the end of this meeting. Thank you very much, folks.
Yep,
Much appreciated. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Cheers, then.
All right, take
Bye.
care.